This is Death by Deep Dive, a hilarious feel-good cozy mystery, Island Whodunnit Book 3. Written by Tess Marlowe and narrated by Sarah Smith. Chapter 1.
That's it.
Reg slapped the screen door.
We're under siege.
Alex didn't look up from her book.
Oh, this ought to be good.
This free diving competition ruined everything. I can't drink my beer in peace anywhere. I can't walk 10 feet without being filmed by someone doing sun salutations for their followers, and the beach looks like someone dropped a cruise ship on it and walked away.
Hyperbole suits you.
She flipped a page of her paperback.
You should write op-eds.
I'm not exaggerating. I had to park 3 blocks away from the supermarket. 3 blocks, Alex. I had to walk in the sun. And someone tried to sell me sunscreen made from dolphin tears. That thing can't be real.
She tilted her head thoughtfully.
I heard that one. Local vendor. They called it Poseidon's Blessing. Don't know if it's real, but Shannon swears by it.
Another hyped-up TikTok scam?
Alex grinned.
You should try it. Might soften the permanent frown.
Everything's booked, Alex. Bongo's is booked. Captain Roy's is booked. Even that sad little smoothie cart run by the guy who talks to his blender is fully committed through the weekend. Where are we going to go for a drink?
He pointed toward the porch, where Bombay lay belly up, paws twitching in a dream.
Even the poor dog couldn't find space to properly mark a bush this morning.
He marked all the bushes he wanted just fine.
I went to buy toothpaste and wound up in 4 live streams. 4. I had to smile and wave like a pageant queen just to get past the vegan aisle.
Well, that's your punishment for doing errands in your camo cargo shorts.
She said, turning a page.
You look like a very tan mercenary.
I am a very tan mercenary, retired. I didn't move here to star in someone's ocean-themed thirst trap.
You moved here to sleep in, grow a beard, and pretend Bombay is your emotional support animal. You're doing great.
Reg dropped into the chair across from her with a long theatrical sigh.
You know I haven't had a normal beach walk in a week? Not one peaceful stroll. Bombay is having an existential crisis.
He's snoring right now in the sun, Reg. That's not a crisis.
Still, if I have to hear one more influencer describe the ocean as crisp with ancestral energy, I'm going to swim out to sea and never come back.
Alex laughed.
You could always get your beach time back. Just go at 6 in the morning like a normal dog person.
6 a.m.?
He scoffed.
Do I look like I'm re-enlisting?
You'd have it all to yourself. Cool sand, quiet water, sunrise dolphins.
I had 20 years of sunrise dolphins. I retired to sleep until 10, eat questionable pastries, and walk my dog whenever I want.
And you're excelling at all 3.
He grunted.
You know what I did my first day of retirement, right? Slept till 10. Next day, 11. I earned this level of indolence.
And yet you woke up early today just to complain.
He tilted his head.
You're enjoying this.
I am.
She admitted, laughing.
It's fun. There's energy and people from all over the world. Shannon and I got tickets to the opening and closing ceremonies. There's going to be synchronized dives, LED drones, fire dancers.
Let me guess. Drum circles.
3, 1 on land, 1 on paddleboards, 1 underwater.
Reg closed his eyes like he was praying for patience.
This is how civilizations fall.
Don't be dramatic. It's good for the island. Hotels are full, shops are stocked, restaurants are humming. Even Anita at the bodega said she's never seen sales like this.
Because tourists are buying bottled water and overpriced coconut chips. When they leave, the ocean will be crisp with their trash, and the dolphins will actually cry.
Because they're spending, Reggie. For once, this place is getting recognition that isn't about hurricanes. And it's nice to see young people out enjoying the ocean.
Young people should enjoy the ocean quietly, respectfully, from a distance, ideally on another island.
Anyway,
She said, ignoring him.
we got the tickets and you're coming. I think it'll be fun.
I think it'll be loud.
Reg grumbled.
And exciting.
And crowded.
and full of very fit people in very small swimsuits.
Okay, you make a compelling point.
Alex smirked, victorious. Bombay thumped his tail once, still belly up, entirely unbothered by the global sporting event unfolding on his sleepy island.
The world is coming to San Malvino for 1 week, Reg. You can survive. And if you really want to avoid the chaos, you and Bombay can get up early, claim the beach, and enjoy the peace.
Is it still peace if you're being punished for it?
Yes,
She said sweetly.
and it builds character.
Reg grunted.
I've got enough character to fill an aircraft carrier tank.
He reached for the last piece of coconut bread just as Alex did, and they both paused, hand on hand, eyebrow raised. Bombay lifted his head.
I'll split it.
She said diplomatically.
You're lucky you're charming.
And you're lucky I haven't made you sit through a free diving documentary yet.
You wouldn't.
She smiled.
Oh, I would.
They were interrupted by the unmistakable squawk of Polly, the island's most dramatic parrot, followed closely by Gary clomping up the porch steps in a flower lei and a sun hat 3 sizes too large.
Do not tell me you're joining a drum circle.
Reg called. Gary grinned like a man who'd just discovered he was king of the tourists. Polly sat on his shoulder, feathers puffed, wearing, God help them all, a tiny sequined sash.
3 words, my friend.
Gary said, spreading his arms.
$500.
Reg squinted.
For what? Did you sell Polly's soul?
Pictures.
Gary said proudly.
Selfies with Polly on the beach. All these free diver fans and sports tourists. They love him. He's got a hashtag now. Hashtag Polly the Parrot Official.
Polly flapped and shrieked.
Get rich, baby!
Reg blinked.
You taught the bird capitalism?
Gary adjusted his hat.
I'm telling you, this competition is a blessing. I hope it never ends. These people will pay $10 just to feed him mango from a stick.
Alex leaned forward.
Did you make the sash yourself?
Edna, the seamstress lady from the mall. Rush order.
Reg gave Polly a long, skeptical look.
So let me get this straight. You're dressing a male parrot in sequins and glitter to hustle tourists for cash?
He likes the attention.
Gary shrugged.
He's a parrot, Gary. You turned him into a drag act for beer money.
Gender is a construct.
Gary said serenely.
And Polly is thriving.
Polly let out a shriek of delight and flapped his wings.
Get rich!
Reg shook his head.
I've lost control of the narrative. I'm being mocked by a bedazzled cross-dressing bird.
Entrepreneur.
Alex corrected.
Stock mogul.
Gary added.
Trade stocks!
Polly screamed, then bobbed like a caffeinated tax accountant. Reg sighed.
I have no allies.
Chapter 2. The sun hadn't even cleared the horizon when Reg stepped onto the beach, Bombay trotting ahead like a commander.
This better be worth it.
Reg muttered, tugging his baseball cap lower.
You realize I've broken a sacred retirement vow by being vertical before 7:30.
Bombay ignored him, nose twitching, tail high, already sniffing the sand like it owed him money. The beach was eerily empty. A few yoga mats lay abandoned near the dunes, dew still clinging to the corners. Farther down, the tent poles and timing platforms stood like ghostly scaffolding in the mist. The ocean, usually vibrant and turquoise, was still catching the first sunlight, lapping the shore with sluggish strokes. Reg yawned, stretched, and considered whether to fake enthusiasm for Bombay's benefit. That was when the dog stopped short, his gaze locked on the water.
What is it?
Reg followed Bombay's line of sight. A dark shape bobbed just beyond the surf line, too big to be driftwood, too still to be sea life. Bombay barked once, sharp and insistent. Reg's stomach dropped. He knew that bark.
Stay.
He ordered, already pulling off his t-shirt.
Don't you move, Bombay.
He was in the water within seconds. The temperature was a slap, cold and bracing, but his body moved on instinct, strong strokes slicing through the morning stillness. As he closed the distance, the shape resolved into the unmistakable form of a body, limbs slack, hair drifting like seaweed, skin too pale in the dawn light.
Damn it.
Reg muttered, reaching for the shoulder.
Hold on, kid.
The body was young, lean, still warm enough to give him hope. Reg hooked an arm under the chest and kicked hard, dragging them both back to shore. Bombay was barking nonstop now, pacing the sand. Reg rolled the young man onto his back and immediately began CPR, steady compressions, mouth to mouth, the whole rhythm drilled into him years ago and buried just deep enough to come roaring back.
Come on, son.
Reg grunted.
Don't make this your last swim.
Time warped, disappeared. He just kept going. Eventually, he heard footsteps, then shouting. A woman in scrubs knelt beside him, an EMT, hair in a tight bun.
We've got it, sir. Step back, please.
Reg moved, soaked and shivering, hands shaking from the adrenaline dump. Bombay pressed against his side, whining. The EMTs worked quickly, but after only a few minutes, one of them looked up and shook her head.
Time of death, 6:28 a.m.
Someone said. Reg sat down hard on the sand, heaving.
Hey!
A voice said nearby.
Isn't that Luca? Luca Bianchi?
The name cut through the fog like a siren. Within minutes, a crowd had begun to gather, early risers with beach towels, free diving team members, curious influencers in matching branded hoodies. That's Luca, someone confirmed. Oh my God, he's dead.
No way. He was training yesterday. He looked fine.
That's the blue wave guy, right? The one all over the posters?
Reg rubbed his forehead with a salty hand. The name finally clicked. Luca Bianchi, the golden boy of free diving. Young, photogenic, fluent in 4 languages. He'd been featured on billboards all week, smiling in a wetsuit like he personally invented oxygen efficiency. And now, he was sprawled in the sand like a broken doll. Sirens wailed in the distance. Moments later, Detective Angela Mendoza arrived, all business in pressed khakis and a white linen blouse, her badge clipped to her belt. Lucien trailed behind her, holding a tablet and looking like he hadn't had coffee yet. 2 uniformed officers from the mainland followed, visibly overwhelmed by the rapidly expanding crowd.
Secure the perimeter.
Mendoza barked.
Clear back 20 feet. No photos, no videos. I will confiscate all devices, I swear to God.
Lucien raised his voice with surprising command.
No press beyond the tape. No drones. You will be escorted off the island if you interfere.
Someone in a #DiveForLife hat took a few reluctant steps back. Mendoza crouched beside the body and sighed through her nose.
Not even day 1. What a mess.
She looked up and spotted Reg.
Of course it's you.
Reg held up his hands.
I didn't do it.
I never said you did. But bodies do seem to fall near your feet.
He gave a humorless smile.
Maybe I'm cursed.
Lucien stepped in.
What happened?
Reg explained, Bombay alerting him, spotting the body, diving in, CPR, the whole grim routine.
You're sure he was alone?
Mendoza asked.
Far as I could tell.
She studied him a moment, then nodded.
You did the right thing.
I didn't do enough.
You're not a miracle worker, Reg. You gave him a chance. That's more than most would have done.
He looked away. Lucien knelt beside the body, already scanning the limbs for injuries.
No visible wounds. No bruising. Wetsuits intact.
Signs of struggle?
Mendoza asked.
None obvious.
One of the mainland officers came up, face pale.
Detective, the press is already assembling at the boardwalk. Someone's live streaming. We've got IDS from the free diving teams confirming it is Luca Bianchi.
Fan-flaming-tastic. Lucien, contact the coroner. I want an autopsy and a full talk screen ASAP. And interview everyone who was here before sunrise. Reg, you up for writing a statement?
I'll do it now.
Go to the tent by the dunes. Keep Bombay with you. God knows he's the only witness who won't post on Instagram.
Reg gave a tired nod and trudged off, Bombay glued to his side like a 4-legged shadow. As they passed the crowd, someone muttered,
Can you believe it? Luca Bianchi, dead. He was supposed to win.
Reg didn't turn, but the words sat heavy in his chest. Supposed to win. Supposed to live. He sat at the folding table inside the makeshift command tent, the paper damp in his hands, trying to remember how to explain the moment you realized someone's last breath had already come and gone. Outside, the crowd pressed in. The island's big week had just begun, and the world was already crumbling. Chapter 3. By the time Alex and Shannon arrived at the South Beach, the scene looked less like a tragedy and more like a music festival with better filming equipment. A ring of curious onlookers swarmed the tented area where emergency personnel were still milling about. Police tape flapped in the breeze. Local influencers stood on tiptoe trying to get the best angles. A group of tourists was live-streaming their own reactions with the emotional range of people reviewing a brunch menu.
I can't believe how many people are already using the hashtag.
Shannon muttered as she scrolled through Dive Talk.
Luca gone too soon is trending. Also hashtag freedive fail, which feels rude.
I hate everything about this.
Alex said, pushing through the crowd.
And why is someone selling coconut water 10 feet from a body?
Capitalism,
Shannon replied darkly. Inside the police tent, the energy shifted. Lucian was typing furiously on a tablet, while Mendoza stood nearby, looking like someone who hadn't blinked in 20 minutes. Reg was sitting on a folding chair in damp clothes, Bombay tucked beside him like a silent bodyguard. Alex rushed over.
Are you okay?
Define okay.
Reg said flatly.
Alive and not handcuffed.
She offered.
Then sure. Peachy.
He leaned down and scratched behind Bombay's ears.
He saw the body first. Smart boy.
you saved someone.
Shannon said, sitting beside him.
Or you tried to.
Reg's face tightened.
I pulled a 20-something-year-old kid out of the surf and gave him CPR for 10 minutes. Nothing. No sputter, no gasp, just...
He trailed off, shaking his head.
Too late.
Mendoza walked over.
We're still waiting on a full report from the coroner. But preliminarily, there's no evidence of trauma or foul play. No bruises, no cuts. So far, it looks like a shallow water blackout.
Shannon looked skeptical.
Luca Bianchi? Blackout? The man holds several world records.
Lucian looked up.
Exactly why it's suspicious.
Alex crossed her arms.
How common is that? For someone like him?
Blackouts happen to beginners, or when someone's pushing limits too hard. Luca wasn't supposed to be diving today, though. The competition starts tomorrow.
I thought free divers rested before big events.
Exactly. It's standard. Hydration, rest, mental prep. Most won't even get in the water the day before.
So what was he doing out there?
Alex asked.
That is what we're trying to figure out.
Could it have been suicide?
Someone said quietly. It took a second to register that it had come from Shannon. Reg blinked.
What?
She looked apologetic but didn't back down.
People are already saying it online, that maybe he felt too much pressure. His dad died last year, and there was that weird post on his social media 2 days ago.
Alex frowned.
What post?
Shannon pulled it up.
Sometimes the pressure on the surface is tougher than in the ocean. You don't realize till you're under.
They all went silent.
Vague.
Lucian said finally.
Melodramatic.
Reg grunted.
But suicide. That guy had a career, fans, the whole big, bright future.
Exactly. People don't expect those guys to have mental health issues.
Which is why it's suspicious. He was literally the golden boy. Everyone loved him.
That's another problem. Nobody seems to dislike him. I've already spoken to 2 of the other competing divers. Both said Luca was kind, respectful, helpful. Not a bad word.
Nobody's that well-liked.
Alex muttered under her breath.
Exactly. Sometimes the perfect ones have the biggest secrets.
Shannon glanced up.
There's also this whole thing about his ex.
Reg side-eyed her.
You've been doom-scrolling too much again.
Excuse me, research. And listen, he dated that Greek-Italian influencer last year, the one who smashed a bottle of Prosecco over her previous ex's Lamborghini.
Please tell me that's not a metaphor.
Alex said.
Nope, champagne bottle shards and everything. She and Luca broke up last fall, and she posted a video where she's crying and screaming in 3 languages. It was iconic.
Name?
Mendoza asked.
Amara Dassies. She's in Ibiza right now, but her cousin is competing in the same division as Luca was, Giorgio Dassis.
Lucien whistled.
Now that's interesting.
Wait. You think this woman's cousin took out Luca on her behalf?
It's called blood loyalty,
Shannon said.
I saw it on TikTok.
No, absolutely not. No one dies because of a reels breakup. That's not how life works.
You clearly don't spend enough time on the internet,
Shannon said, folding her arms. Mendoza took another note.
Okay, ex-girlfriend drama and vengeful cousin. On the list. What about rivalries?
Alex raised a brow.
You're saying someone wanted him gone to win?
Someone always wants someone gone to win.
Mendoza replied.
There's a reason people used to sabotage horses. Now it's just more high-tech.
Shannon pulled up a new tab.
There's a diver named Rafi Al-Masri, Egyptian-French, crazy talented, and constantly in Luca's shadow. He made a snarky post last week, something like, "Let the water decide who really deserves the crown."
Lucien nodded.
I've seen him. Fast rise in the rankings, very competitive. And some rumors he's bitter.
Could he have tampered with Luca's gear?
Alex asked.
No way. Security at these events is tight. Athletes keep their own kits. Some even sleep with their monofins. It'd be risky.
I think I hate this sport,
Reg muttered.
No, you don't. You hate the people who commercialize it.
Mendoza took notes.
I will talk to his coach, see what his mindset's been like.
Shannon opened her mouth, closed it, then pulled her phone out again.
Okay, don't laugh. But what if he overdosed? There are doping scandals, right?
Lucien nodded.
Stimulants, oxygen-loading compounds, pre-dive sedatives, even breath-hold training hacks that flirt with brain damage. It's a gray area, but the scandals are real.
Anything in his wetsuit?
Alex asked. Mendoza shook her head.
We collected it. It looked new. No visible tampering, but the lab will test it.
They sat in silence for a moment as a group of onlookers outside the tent broke into spontaneous applause. Apparently, someone had just done a flip into the ocean for a tribute video. Shannon checked her feed.
And now people are saying he was cursed.
Mendoza pinched the bridge of her nose.
No.
Apparently, there's a legend that a pearl diver died here 100 years ago and haunts free divers since, and Luca trained in the exact same bay.
Absolutely not.
Mendoza facepalmed. Alex smirked.
It's not the wildest thing we've heard on this island.
Bombay barked softly, tail thumping like he was agreeing. Lucien looked up.
So far, we've got doping, suicide, ex-revenge, competitive sabotage, and a ghost.
Perfect. So basically, we know nothing.
That's not true.
Mendoza said.
We know Luca was young, talented, and had a whole life ahead of him. Which means someone, somewhere, knows more than they're saying.
She scanned the crowd through the tent opening with narrow eyes.
And I don't think they've gone far.
Outside the tent, someone began playing a mournful cover of Under the Sea on a ukulele. Reg groaned.
If they turn this into a musical, I swear I'm moving back to Texas.
Chapter 4. San Malvino's police station sat perched just above the harbor like a mildly disapproving ant, compact, sun-faded, and always watching. Mendoza had commandeered a conference room that smelled faintly of stale coffee and tropical mildew. A laminated poster about avoiding jellyfish stings hung just slightly askew. Alex, Reg, and Shannon sat on one side of the table like students summoned to the principal's office. Mendoza, flanked by her ever-tapping pen and a coffee cup labeled "Interrogate First, Arrest Later," stood in front of a whiteboard already covered in names and bullet points.
I'm bringing in the event organizers, Luca's coach, and the main sponsors for formal questioning.
Mendoza said, underlining as she spoke. Reg leaned back in his chair, arms crossed.
Sounds like you got it covered. Do we get to go home and have a siesta now?
No.
Mendoza tapped the board with unnecessary vigor.
You three are going undercover.
Shannon perked up.
Like wigs and mustaches undercover?
No.
Mendoza sighed.
Like tourists. You're not officers. You can move through the island freely and talk to people without raising suspicion. Everyone's gossiping already. I want you to blend in and listen.
To what?
Alex asked, leaning forward.
Anything about the names on this list?
Mendoza gestured at the board.
Competitors, team staff, that cousin, Giorgio Dassis, and Luca's rivals, like Rafael Masri. I want to know who people are whispering about, who looks nervous, who's suddenly camera shy.
Reg glanced at the list.
Some of these names sound like Bond villains.
Perfect.
Mendoza said dryly.
Treat them accordingly. But please, no citizens' arrests.
Shannon took out her phone.
Do we get code names? Like Operation Seashell?
No code names.
Operation Shark Whisperer?
Mendoza raised a hand.
Stop.
Alex smiled.
I assume we're heading to the championship camp?
Exactly. The free dive village is set up just north of South Beach. Vendors, athlete tents, media zones, basically chaos in a branded t-shirt. You three go pretend to shop for overpriced rash guards and eavesdrop, like it's your side hustle. If anyone asks, you're a dive-curious tourist with a very chatty dog.
Bombay gave a soft woof, as if accepting his assignment.
Oh, and Reg?
Mendoza added.
Try not to look like you're casing the joint. That Texan drawl only helps if you're talking.
Reg tipped an invisible hat.
Ma'am, I'm just here for the tan and the conspiracy theories.
The championship camp was an organized circus. Dozens of tents flapped in the warm ocean breeze, printed with logos like Blue Wave, Pro Dive International, and Plunge Global. The main pathway, lined with sand-crusted mats and makeshift signage, bustled with vendors selling everything from anti-fog sprays to vegan shark jerky.
Is that a custom monofin bedazzler?
Shannon whispered. Alex squinted.
I think it's a hot glue gun and friendship bracelet kit.
They paused near a tent marked Athlete Check-In, where volunteers handed out hydration packets and schedule lanyards.
All right.
Reg said, scanning the scene like a dad at Disney World.
We split up?
Alex nodded.
Cover more ground. Just keep your ears open.
They agreed to meet in an hour at the smoothie truck near the first aid tent. Neutral ground, with reliable shade and pitaya smoothies. Alex wandered toward the sponsor booths, pretending to study a rack of dry bags while tuning into the conversation between two volunteers.
I heard Luca was practicing off schedule, like alone, and that's not normal, right?
Totally weird. And apparently his coach didn't even know.
You think it was a panic thing?
I think he was hiding something.
The second volunteer glanced around and dropped her voice.
Someone said Giorgio Dassis flipped out yesterday, like full tantrum when he saw the roster.
Alex mentally filed that under interesting. She picked up a waterproof pouch and nodded solemnly at it, as though it had whispered state secrets. Next, she slid over to the Plunge Global booth, where an influencer in a shell bikini was doing a sponsored unboxing of a new wetsuit. Her assistant looked bored out of his mind. Alex caught snippets as she passed.
Luca was their golden boy. He was going to do a campaign in Bali.
They were grooming him for ambassador status, like full sponsorship. Big money.
Dude was about to blow up.
She moved on, grateful for her oversized sunglasses and touristy tote bag. Reg gravitated toward the equipment zone, where competitors were testing fins, checking weights, and talking gear in a dozen languages. He recognized Rafi Al-Masri from photos, a sleek, wiry man with a 5 o'clock shadow and Olympic posture. He was laughing with a tech crew member, but something about the tension in his shoulders set off Reggie's internal radar. Reg wandered closer, crouched beside Bombay, and fiddled with his shoelace. The crew guy was saying,
He said something like, "Only one of us is surfacing tomorrow." I thought he was joking, but now?
Rafi made a cutting motion across his neck and muttered,
"Bad timing, man."
The mood shifted instantly. The crew guy laughed nervously. Rafi didn't. Reg stood, brushing sand off his knees.
Don't mind me. Just teaching my dog to sniff out arrogance.
Rafi blinked.
Pardon?
Reg tipped his head with a friendly smile.
Nice fins.
Shannon was deep in the merch zone, where local artists sold sea glass earrings and screen-printed Breathe Deeper shirts. She'd struck up a conversation with a jewelry vendor who apparently moonlighted as the unofficial gossip hub.
Luca? Oh, honey, he was sweet but complicated.
The vendor said, looping a bracelet into a tiny box.
You know what they say? Still waters run deep, especially when they're handsome and broody.
Shannon nodded solemnly.
Totally.
And that cousin of Amara, Giorgio, walks around like the ocean owes him hard cash. Wasn't happy being in Luca's shadow.
Think he'd ever do something drastic?
The vendor gave a noncommittal shrug.
Wouldn't surprise me. But between us girls, I always thought the sponsor deals were what drove Luca. Pressure's not always from competition. It's from the brand managers.
Shannon bought a pair of coral earrings she didn't need and jotted everything in the Notes app. An hour later, the trio regrouped at the smoothie truck. Bombay was happily licking mango off Shannon's hand. Alex leaned in.
Giorgio had a meltdown over the roster. Sponsors were practically minting Luca into a poster boy.
Shannon nodded.
And apparently, Giorgio wasn't happy to be number 2.
Reg added,
Raffi joked, maybe joked, about someone not surfacing. That guy has a weird energy.
Not to mention, his coach didn't know Luca was diving off schedule.
Alex added. She paused, brow furrowed.
Which means someone else either knew or wanted it that way.
Shannon frowned.
So who did?
They all looked at each other.
Mendoza needs to hear this,
Reg said, wiping pitaya from his chin.
and we need a real lead before this turns into a full-blown conspiracy smoothie.
Bombay barked in agreement, then sneezed mango across Reggie's shorts. Chapter 5. The police station conference room had seen more community bake sale permits than criminal interrogations, but today it wasn't business as usual. Mendoza had swapped the jellyfish poster for a clean whiteboard. A small fan on the windowsill whirred like it, too, was trying to stay business neutral. Lucian stood at the side, arms crossed, watching as Mendoza poured her second coffee of the hour into the same interrogate first, arrest later mug. Her blazer was slung over the back of a chair, already too humid for that kind of formalities. The first to arrive was the coach, a lean and spry man in his early 50s named Marek Blaha. He was so tanned, he looked like a human-sized prune in motion. His baby blue eyes were taut with exhaustion and grief that hadn't had time to settle.
Mr. Blaha,
Mendoza said, motioning to the seat.
Thank you for coming in.
Of course.
Merrick said, sitting with the posture any ballerina would envy.
We all want to know what happened to our Luca. It is not possible what they say.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Mendoza replied, her tone softening.
And I know that this might be hard, but we need to recreate everything from the last 48 hours. Let's begin with the basics. When did you last see him?
Marek rubbed his temple slowly.
Yesterday morning, or rather, not see him. He did not come to our last training. We had session early before heat. He texted me, say he needed time to think, to rest. He say he would train on his own. This is not like Luca. He was, always with the group. First in water, last out.
Was he ill? Injured?
Mendoza asked.
No. Physically, he was perfect. Strong lungs, strong body. But something in his head, you know? This past week, he was not the same.
How so?
Marek leaned forward, voice thickening.
He became quiet, more than usual. Luca is not loud boy, but this was different. He stopped coming to team dinners. Spoke little. He trained, yes, but he was not with us. Like a diver going too deep. You look in his eyes and you see his mind is far away.
Did he say anything about why?
Marek shook his head, slowly.
No, but I know the pressure from sponsors, from media. It was not easy. They billed him like star. Say he is future of freediving. Too much, too fast. He is 24, not machine.
Mendoza scribbled a note.
So he missed your yesterday's morning session and went out today on his own. Mr. Blaha, is it common for free divers to train alone?
The coach snapped upright.
Never, not serious ones. You must have at least one safety diver, always. This is not a suggestion, it is rule. For deep dives, even 2 safety divers. If he went alone, it is no training. It is something else.
Like what?
Lucian asked quietly. Marek's voice cracked just slightly.
Either he trusted someone not from the team, or he meant not to come back.
A silence filled the room, stretching into the corners. Mendoza exhaled slowly.
Was there someone he usually trained with? A go-to safety diver?
No fixed one. Island is full of divers this week. He could ask anyone, many professionals. But for him to skip me, skip team, it is strange.
Mendoza nodded, then asked more gently,
Did anyone from the team see him yesterday or today? Speak with him.
I don't think so, but I can check. Our group chat has many messages. I can look again. Maybe someone saw him in the gear tent or beach.
Mendoza scribbled another note, then looked up.
One last thing for now. Do you know what wetsuit Luca was planning to compete in?
Merrick nodded.
Yes. He has 3. Identical, custom-made glide skin suits from Blue Wave. Silver with his sponsor logo. He trains in them, competes in them. Always. Same cut, same material. No change.
Lucian, who had been tapping notes into his phone, glanced up.
2 of those suits were in his hotel room. A third was hanging in the equipment tent. But the one he was found in? He hesitated. Different brand, no sponsor logos. Not even the same model.
Merrick's face froze.
What?
It was a Plunge Global suit, the brand new one they advertise everywhere.
Lucian added. The coach shook his head slowly, visibly rattled.
No, this is not possible. Luca would never try new suit. He has what he needs, more than enough, and especially not before a dive day. No athlete tries new gear day before competition. It is like going into fight with new sword you never hold. It is madness.
Mendoza leaned forward.
Could there be any reason? Superstition? Sponsorship issue? Damaged gear?
No.
Merrick was firm.
If glide skin tore, he would tell me. If sponsor made problem, I would know. There is no reason. I cannot explain it.
Mendoza and Lucian exchanged a glance.
All right,
She said finally.
Thank you, Mr. Blaha. If you think of anything else, anything strange, even if it seems small, you call me.
Merrick stood slowly.
He was not just athlete. He was my boy. Please, find out what happened.
We intend to, no matter who it upsets.
He gave a brief nod, then left the room with the slow, unsteady gait of someone moving through water. Lucian closed the door behind him.
I don't like it,
he said. Mendoza stared at the door after Merrick left. Just a second longer than necessary.
Me neither.
She replied, reaching for the marker and underlining wetsuit swap on the board.
Let's bring in the organizers next. Maybe they've got answers.
The conference room door swung open again, this time to admit a flurry of agitated voices and half-buttoned linen shirts. 2 of the event organizers, locals from San Malvino's Tourism and Sports Authority, entered in a puff of citrus cologne and mild sunburn, trailed by the visiting heads of the International Freediving Federation, its silver-haired president and a lean, severe-looking man introduced as the head judge.
Detective Mendoza.
One of the organizers said breathlessly.
We're doing our best, truly, but this situation is beyond us.
Please, have a seat.
Mendoza gestured toward the chairs. The shorter of the 2 locals, a man named Fabio Morales, began wringing his hands the moment he sat.
You have to understand. We worked for almost 2 years to bring this championship here. We secured sponsors, renovated the dock, even hired that sea turtle rescue team to make us look eco-conscious. And now the boy is dead, and we don't even know if we're supposed to have the opening ceremony tonight.
The other organizer, a tall man in his early 30s with a clipboard clutched like a lifeline, nodded.
The athletes are confused. The press is getting out of hand. Vendors are asking for refunds. If we postpone, it's a disaster. If we cancel, we're ruined.
Mendoza kept her voice even.
My condolences. But this is an open investigation, and I need facts. Did either of you speak to Luca in the past 2 days?
Fabio shook his head.
No. He mostly dealt with his coach. The athletes were given their schedules through the federation.
Did you notice anything unusual? Tension between teams? Strange behavior from sponsors? Last-minute security concerns?
The tall man glanced at Fabio, then hesitated.
We noticed nothing serious. Some of the teams didn't love being placed so close together in the athlete village, and there were a few arguments over warm-up pool slots, but no threats, nothing like that.
Mendoza wrote a curt note.
Understood. If you think of anything else, call me. For now, don't make any announcements. Let's keep tonight on hold.
Fabio's expression crumpled.
But the lighting rig is already up.
Hold it.
Mendoza repeated.
We're investigating a suspicious death. We do not want our island in headlines for the wrong reasons.
They both nodded like chastised schoolchildren and scurried out, still whispering about sponsor refunds. The air in the room shifted as the Federation officials took their seats. The president introduced himself with a warm, practiced smile.
Detective, thank you for receiving us. This is tragic beyond words. Luca Bianchi was not only a champion, but a rising icon for the sport.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. We'll keep this brief. When did you last see Luca?
Koenig's brow furrowed.
3 days ago, during the orientation meeting, late afternoon. He arrived last, sat in the back, didn't say much. That was unlike him.
Did you notice anything off?
The head judge, a wiry man with slicked-back gray hair and a noticeable tan line where his dive watch must usually sit, leaned forward.
He looked pale, distracted. I asked if he was feeling well. He waved it off, said he was just jet-lagged.
Was there any concern that he might not compete?
Koenig interjected smoothly.
No. He confirmed participation. Signed the pre-dive forms. His coach didn't report any injuries or health issues. Medical checkup was clean. We had no reason to worry.
Mendoza glanced toward the head judge, who had suddenly taken interest in his cufflink. His left foot tapped a few times against the linoleum, then stilled.
And the results of the safety inspection?
She asked.
All gear was logged as of yesterday morning.
Koenig replied.
Standard protocol. Of course, now we're reviewing the logs again, just to be safe.
Lucian raised an eyebrow.
You keep records of athlete equipment, right?
Koenig's mouth pressed into a thin line.
We intend to cooperate fully. Whatever you need, Detective, the Federation will support it.
Mendoza nodded once.
I'll hold you to that.
The third group entered like an overpriced weather front. High-end tailored suits, flanked by legal muscle, all smelling faintly of cologne, coffee, and plausible deniability. 2 men and 1 excessively polished woman from Blue Wave took seats across from Mendoza, while their lawyers arranged themselves in a semicircle behind them, like well-groomed vultures waiting for the paperwork.
We are, of course, devastated by Luca's passing.
The lead representative said, placing a monogrammed business card on the table like a peace offering.
He was not just a sponsored athlete, he was family to our brand.
Such a tragic loss, the woman added smoothly, folding her hands like a talk show host on a sympathy tour.
Naturally, all proprietary and contractual information will require subpoenas or court orders. I'm sure you understand.
Mendoza didn't blink.
Naturally.
And one more thing,
the man said, adjusting his cuff like he was tightening the screws on a sympathy machine.
when can the body be released to the family? There are, as you can imagine, insurance matters to consider.
Mendoza set down her pen with surgical precision.
That decision has not been made yet, and I'm sure you understand. That's sensitive information, too.
They didn't flinch, just nodded, all fake smiles. As the last lawyer clicked the door shut behind them, Lucian leaned over and murmured,
Nothing says grief like 5 lawyers and a business card with spot gloss.
Mendoza sipped her coffee without looking up.
At least they didn't bring a swag basket.
Chapter 6. By noon, San Malvino was humming like a beehive on cold brew. South Beach was mobbed with influencers, vendors were yelling over loud music, and someone had apparently started a crystal-infused ocean healing circle near the smoothie truck, complete with bongos and breath affirmations. Seemed like Luca's drowning was old news, which was why Alex, Reg, and Shannon turned up at the police station with enough food to feed a small nation and 2 dogs.
Surprise!
Shannon said, kicking the door open with her flip-flop and balancing a tray of drinks.
We brought sustenance and emotional support dogs.
Yay. What you got?
Lucian asked from behind the front desk, where he was typing something aggressively.
Anything we could save from the insatiable tourist.
Reg replied, holding up 2 paper bags.
Also fish tacos.
Loco, Shannon's diamond-pooping smuggler pup, skidded in after Bombay like an understudy who missed his cue. Bombay made a beeline for the corner fan, flopped dramatically, and groaned.
Honestly,
Alex said, fanning herself,
this is the only quiet place on the island right now. Everywhere you go, there's either a pop-up shop or a pop-up stage or something else pop-up.
Mendoza emerged from the conference room, eyebrows arched.
This is still a police station, right?
We brought food for debriefing,
Shannon said brightly.
like polite civilians.
Mendoza gave a half smile despite herself.
Fine. Use the back table. And if the dogs knock over the evidence cabinet again, I'm feeding them to the sharks.
They spread out their bounty, iced coffees, crispy fries, sandwiches, tacos, and what appeared to be a rogue empanada no one claimed. Loco sniffed it respectfully before curling up under Shannon's chair. Lucian finally stood and joined them.
So, what did you find?
Gossip, weird vibes, and an alarming number of theories. Giorgio Dassis had a full-blown tantrum when the dive roster came out, but no one knows why. Apparently, he stormed off in full Greek-Italian flair without explaining.
And Rafi Al-Masri made a cryptic joke about someone not surfacing, which in context is not even a little bit funny.
Shannon took a sip of her iced coffee.
There's also talk that the fancy wetsuit brand was prepping a full-blown global brand campaign with Luca. Posters, promos, the works.
Lucian frowned.
Wait, the Plunge Global people?
Yeah, Shell Bikini influencer at the tent said they were prepping a campaign launch with him in Bali.
Lucian rubbed the back of his neck.
But that doesn't line up.
With what?
Reg asked, pausing mid-bite.
With his contract. Luca's primary sponsor was Blue Wave, not Plunge. He was featured in their ads last quarter, and his gear at the hotel was all Blue Wave branded.
Reg leaned forward.
So why's Plunge saying he was their future poster boy?
Blue Wave guys said it straight to my face this morning.
Mendoza said.
That he was family to the brand.
Well, someone's lying, or someone jumped the gun. Either way, suspicious.
Before Mendoza could reply, her phone rang. She checked the screen, held up a finger, and answered.
Detective Mendoza.
A pause.
Yes, Coach. What's wrong?
Another pause. Her expression shifted, the casual ease draining into sharp alertness.
No, we haven't recovered any of Luca's devices. No phone, no tablet, no camera, nothing. Why?
There was a longer silence as she listened. Then she straightened.
You're sure they're missing?
Lucian stopped mid-sip.
Yes, I understand. We'll look into it. Thank you for letting me know.
Mendoza ended the call and turned toward them.
That was Coach Blaha. The organizers are putting together a tribute for the opening ceremony. Photos, videos, highlights. They asked him for anything Luca might have had on his devices. He went looking and came up empty.
You mean?
Alex started.
Phone, camera, tablet, gone.
Mendoza looked at Lucian.
We didn't recover any at the scene or in his hotel room, right?
Lucian shook his head.
Just some chargers. No actual tech.
Reg exhaled.
That's not lost. That's stolen.
For just a second, Mendoza's knuckles whitened around the coffee cup. Evidence theft meant one thing. Someone out there was ahead of them.
Exactly. Someone got there first.
But who would take that kind of risk?
Shannon stirred her iced coffee.
Hotel rooms aren't exactly easy to sneak into.
Someone who knew what they were looking for.
Lucian walked to the whiteboard.
And knew how valuable it might be.
Alex tapped her nails against the table.
If Luca had footage of his last dive, or anything shady, someone had a very good reason to make sure it disappeared.
Mendoza nodded.
Which means this isn't just a case of a tragic accident anymore. Someone's covering something up.
Bombay gave a low, uncertain woof, as if to second that motion. Reg stood, brushing crumbs off his shirt.
So what now?
Now,
Mendoza said, already walking back toward the whiteboard.
We find out who had a motive to steal his devices.
Lucian added,
I'll follow up with the hotel, see if security footage shows anything, and I'll reach out to Blue Wave. If Luca was under contract, they may have backup media or cloud syncs.
There's one more thing,
Reg said, patting Bombay on the head.
Did anyone find Luca's dive computer? 'Cause when I found him, it was not on his wrist.
The room went still for a beat. Mendoza turned slowly.
You're sure?
Positive. No fins, no dive computer. Just the mask and the wetsuit.
Lucian frowned.
That's odd. He wouldn't dive without it, especially not solo.
Unless someone didn't want anyone to see the data of his last dive,
Alex said, eyes narrowing.
Someone took it. I bet a year of art supplies, it was the same person who stole the devices.
Mendoza grabbed her phone again.
I'm calling Coach Blaha. If Luca synced data with his team, maybe they've got something. If not, we're dealing with a whole other level of premeditation.
She stepped into the hall to make the call, the door clicking behind her. For a moment, no one spoke. Bombay yawned loudly. Loco gave a soft snore from under the table.
Just once,
Reg muttered.
I'd like to solve a case that doesn't include missing electronics.
Alex leaned back in her chair.
If we ever do, I'll be suspicious we traveled back in time.
Lucian's eyes stayed on the whiteboard, where devices missing now shared space with unknown dive suit and no safety diver. Someone killed Luca Bianchi, and they had to know why. Chapter 7. The conference room door creaked open and Mendoza reappeared with her phone still in hand and a look that said there was more trouble.
Well,
She announced, setting her coffee down with a dramatic thud.
Coach Blaha confirms the dive computer is still in Luca's locker at the equipment tent.
Alex blinked.
So, he didn't have it on him when he went in the water?
Apparently not.
Mendoza said, rubbing her temple.
It's been sitting in the locker untouched. Which means he either left it behind on purpose, or something about that dive wasn't supposed to be tracked.
Reg leaned back.
A world-class free diver going into the ocean without his dive computer is like a police officer without a gun. That doesn't happen.
Mendoza pointed to Lucien.
You're going to check it. Pull the data, see when it was last used. And while you're at it, I want the hotel surveillance pulled. All cameras, all angles, all timestamps.
Lucian gave a resigned sigh.
Do I look like a human IT department?
Mendoza didn't look up.
You look like a very promising intern who still has to prove himself to get hired full-time. Go.
He left, muttering about digital exploitation and privacy violations like a polite libertarian. Mendoza turned to the rest of them, still surrounded by the ruins of fish tacos and melting iced coffees.
You three are back on recon. I need eyes and ears at the freediving camp. Quiet, casual, ideally without getting banned from the event or starting a fight.
We're very discreet,
Alex said, peeling a taco wrapper off her elbow.
You're very memorable,
Mendoza replied.
But sure. Play tourist. Ask if anyone's heard anything weird about Luca's gear. Specifically, why someone like him would be diving in a completely different wetsuit with another brand's logo.
That's so unlike any pro.
Shannon searched her brain for a metaphor.
That's like showing up to a piano recital with someone else's fingers.
Mendoza rolled her eyes at the comparison, but nodded.
Right. So I want to know who might have seen him change, if it was in the equipment tent, and if there was someone with him.
Reg picked up the last fry like it was a coveted prize.
So we're snooping on wetsuits now.
And anyone who looks nervous around the phrase training footage. I'll be pulling Giorgio and Raffi in for formal interviews. If either of them gets squirrely, I want to know who they've been hanging around.
Do we reconvene back here?
Alex asked, tossing their trash into a nearby bin labeled paper only, not for burritos.
No opening ceremony, tonight. Everyone will be there, half of them drunk, plus we'll see the reactions up close to the tribute.
Can I wear sequins?
Shannon asked.
No, you are supposed to blend in. Wear a hashtag t-shirt.
What about Loco and Bombay?
Definitely no sequins on the dogs.
Bombay gave a low groan from the corner as if relieved.
All right,
Mendoza said, gathering her notes.
You know what to do. Act like tourists, keep your ears open, and try not to trigger any new international incidents.
Reg stood and stretched.
I make no promises.
The only interview room at the San Malvino police station had 2 chairs, 1 desk, and the kind of lighting that made even honest people get a nervous tic. Mendoza liked it that way. Rafi Al-Masri sat across from her, lean and coiled, like he was prepping for a sprint underwater. His posture was perfect, his expression not so much, somewhere between bored, disgusted, and vaguely offended.
Thanks for coming in.
Mendoza said without any warmth in her voice.
This won't take long.
I hope not.
Rafi replied, glancing at his minimalist watch. That probably cost more than Mendoza's annual salary.
My team expects me at training. We don't cancel practice for drama.
Luca's death isn't drama.
It is when it's trending on Dive Talk.
He muttered. Mendoza didn't take the bait. She flipped open her notepad.
Tell me about your relationship with Luca.
Rafi gave a dry chuckle.
Is that what we're calling it?
You were competitors. Any issues between you two?
Rafi leaned back.
Luca was a crowd favorite. Pretty, soft-spoken, tragic backstory. Fisherman's son from Sicily makes good. People love that stuff. They eat it up. Doesn't matter if he started 5 years behind the rest of us. Doesn't matter that some of us actually trained in national programs and not, tide pools.
So you didn't think he belonged?
Rafi shrugged.
I think freediving is an elite sport. Takes discipline, financial investment, training, real training, not fan pages and floaty hashtags.
Mendoza raised an eyebrow.
Floaty hashtags?
He had a tag, #depthwithheart.
Rafi said with a grimace, like it tasted sour.
Makes us all look like influencers.
You said something in your Dive Talk post.
Mendoza said, checking her notes.
Let the water decide who deserves the crown. Was that about him?
Rafi's mouth twitched.
I don't name names.
You don't have to.
She closed her notebook.
That'll be all for now. Try not to offend the water cooler on your way out.
10 minutes later, Giorgio Dassis took the same seat, except he didn't sit. He lounged, legs crossed, shirt unbuttoned just enough to suggest effortless effort. His sunglasses were tucked into his collar like an afterthought, and his cologne arrived in the room a full second before he did.
I'm devastated.
Giorgio said before she could speak.
Really. Luca was a complicated guy, but I never wanted him dead.
Mendoza didn't move.
You and he were close?
My cousin dated him. Amara Dassis? You've seen the videos, probably. She turned Luca into what he was, off the mat anyway.
She helped him with sponsors?
Giorgio snorted.
She built him from scratch as a brand. He didn't know the first thing about branding before her. He was just another good diver with a sharp jawline. Amara taught him how to be interesting, how to speak, how to carry himself, how to sell the free diving dream.
And he broke up with her.
Yeah.
Giorgio's tone flattened.
Said some of her deals weren't kosher enough and he couldn't be associated with that. Which, fine, have a conscience. But maybe don't ruin people's livelihoods over it.
Are you saying he jeopardized yours?
I'm saying he took his moral crusade into the wrong place.
Giorgio said, leaning forward.
We live off sponsor money. No one's proud to admit it, but it's the reason there's even a federation. These events cost money. Boats, coaches, safety teams, insurance, constant international travel. There would be no federation without brands.
Mendoza tilted her head.
As far as I know, he was the face of Blue Wave for some years.
He was.
Did he have issues with them?
Giorgio's jaw tightened.
I'm under NDA. You know I can't talk about that.
But there was something.
He stood.
I said what I can say.
Mendoza watched him leave, already filing the conversation into her mental folder labeled Red Flags and Sponsorship Drama. The room was empty again, just 2 chairs, 1 desk, and one more reason to suspect that Luca Bianchi didn't commit suicide. Chapter 8. The opening ceremony was a spectacle designed to impress. By the time the sun dipped behind the palm-fringed ridge, the south end of San Malvino's beach had transformed into something between a luxury brand expo and the Olympics. A full stage had been built overnight, complete with a light rig that could rival Lady Gaga's concert, speaker towers stacked like surfside obelisks, and 3 rows of VIP seating roped off with sponsor-emblazoned velvet cords. Boats bobbed just offshore with their lights twinkling. Drones zipped overhead, filming the crowd from dramatic angles. On the big screen, a custom animation played on loop, shimmering waves, motivational slogans in 10 languages, and a CGI freediver plunging into infinite blue.
It's like a tech startup and Super Bowl had a baby.
Alex muttered, eyeing the screen. Shannon spun slowly in place.
There's a branded coconut water booth with a fog machine. I repeat, a fog machine.
Reg looked like he wanted to be anywhere else.
The last time I saw this many lights was during a breach in Kandahar, though we had less catering.
The crowd swelled past the bleachers and into the sand. Athletes in their team colors, influencers with gimbals, tourists balancing mojitos, local kids chasing the flashing drones. The whole island had shown up. At the center of it all, a massive LED screen lit up with a soft swell of orchestral music. A slideshow began, fading gently from image to image. Luca Bianchi smiling on a podium, clasping hands with young fans, disappearing beneath a glittering surface. The music shifted into something more cinematic, soaring strings, slow crescendos. People quieted. A few bowed their heads. Even Bombay and Loco stopped fidgeting, noses twitching at the solemn change in mood.
It's kind of beautiful,
Shannon said quietly.
It's supposed to be.
Alex replied, watching the images.
That's how they keep the narrative tidy.
Red shook his head.
Doesn't feel right, making him a brand before he's even cold.
He looks like a movie star,
Shannon said, brushing dog fur off her sundress. Loco sat at her feet with a flower lei someone had handed him earlier.
That's the point,
Alex said, watching the screen.
They want him to be remembered as the face of the sport. Clean, safe, profitable.
Reg adjusted his sunglasses.
Feels like they're skipping past the part where he died this morning under very suspicious circumstances.
Marketing waits for no one.
Mendoza muttered. She was standing just behind them, looking annoyed and tired. Bombay flopped beside her with a soft sigh, tired from a full day of being a very good boy in places he technically wasn't allowed. The crowd began to quiet as the screen faded to black, and the president of the International Freediving Federation stepped onto the stage. A polite round of applause rose, just loud enough to seem respectful. The president was tall, tanned, and smiled like someone who hadn't trained a day in his life. He stepped up to the mic, adjusted it slightly, and cleared his throat.
Thank you all for being here.
He began.
Before we begin this incredible week of competition, we must take a moment to remember one of our own.
A beat passed.
Luca.
He paused, visibly blanking. A short, hurried whisper came from behind the podium.
Bianchi.
He finished.
Luca Bianchi.
Another pause.
A great athlete. And a reminder of the risks of our sport.
He didn't elaborate. Instead, he straightened.
But tonight, we honor his memory by doing what we all came here to do. Compete, celebrate the human spirit, and show the world what freediving is all about.
Applause, a bit stronger now.
Let us thank the incredible sponsors who make all this possible.
He continued, already brightening.
Blue Wave, Plunge Global, Aquatech, Deep Blue, ProDive.
Alex blinked.
Did we just pivot from tragedy to product placement?
Not even a minute of silence,
Shannon whispered. Reg folded his arms.
I heard a lot of eulogies, and this ain't one.
The screen behind the speaker lit up again, this time with logos. The head judge came to the mic next and gave an even shorter speech. Something about safety, discipline, and how
this week isn't just about competition, it's about community.
He glanced at the sponsor banners more than the audience. His hands never quite stopped fidgeting. Alex leaned toward Mendoza.
That was weird, right? It wasn't just me.
Mendoza didn't answer, but her mouth pressed into a thin line. A group of athletes stood up to light floating lanterns. Someone started playing a mournful ukulele cover of Don't Stop Believin'. A few tourists clapped, confused about whether it was a tribute or an encore. As the crowd shifted to the beach for the lantern launch, a Blue Wave rep in a branded linen shirt passed by, laughing too loudly into his phone.
I'm just saying,
He said to someone on the other end.
Plunge Global is clawing their way to the top any way they can.
Alex's ears perked up. She caught Mendoza's eye and raised a brow.
Got it.
Mendoza said quietly, pulling out her phone.
That's the second time plunge has come up in a weird context today.
Just then, Lucian appeared, looking like he did 3 laps around the island.
Okay.
He said, trying to catch a breath.
I reviewed the hotel footage.
They turned toward him as subtly as a group of nosy retirees, and one detective could.
Only one person entered Luca's room in the morning. No security alerts, no broken locks. It was the housekeeper. Checked in on the floor plan at 7:05 a.m.
Was she the only one?
Mendoza asked. Lucien nodded.
Only one with keycard access. Nobody else was logged. No staff, no friends, no competitors.
Name?
Don't have it yet. The hotel manager's tracking it now, but the housekeeping team rotates, and their logs are analog, paper clipboard, initials, room numbers.
Of course they are. Tell them to move faster.
Lucien nodded and pulled out his phone again. The crowd began to disperse around them, some heading toward the torch-lit cocktail stations, others snapping selfies with glowing lanterns. The festive mood returned like it had been on a leash, just waiting for the tribute to end.
I don't like this,
Reg said, watching the screen now cycling through sponsor ads.
That speech sounded fishy.
They've moved on, and they're hoping the rest of us do too.
Well,
Mendoza said, her tone razor thin.
We have no such intention.
Chapter 9. It was almost midnight on San Malvino, but the island hadn't gotten the memo yet. Steel drums thumped somewhere near South Beach, tiki torches still flickered along the boardwalk, and fireworks were going off in polite, tourist-friendly bursts above the marina. The free diving championship had officially begun, and judging by the swaying tourists, so had the drinking. Shannon had taken Loco home for the night, citing heat exhaustion, influencer fatigue, and the deeply spiritual need for a couch. But Reg, Alex, and Bombay had stayed behind at the station.
Figured someone should keep you company,
Reg said, flopping into a plastic chair with the posture of a retired officer who had unwillingly unretired for the 3rd time that week. Bombay curled up at his feet like a shaggy footrest with a badge. Mendoza had only grunted in appreciation. She wasn't the chatty type after 10 p.m. She was too busy staring at the front door, willing Lucian to appear. Just as she was going to dial him and ask how long could it possibly take to find the name of one housekeeper, he burst in, waving a folded printout like it was a golden ticket.
I got it. Name of the housekeeper, Carmen Velez. Checked in at 7:05 a.m., just like the log said.
Mendoza didn't even blink.
We're going.
Reg raised an eyebrow.
Now?
She's the only one who could have taken the tablet,
Mendoza said, grabbing her badge and not bothering with her blazer.
If someone paid her to do that, they may try to pay her to keep quiet.
Lucian was already pulling up the address on his phone.
I'll drive,
Reg said, holding up the keys.
Bombay shotgun.
Carmen Velez's house sat in a quiet row of bungalows tucked behind a hibiscus hedge, just uphill from the island school. Her porch light flickered in sync with a bug zapper and a swinging coconut wind chime. There was a potted fern, a tricycle, and a half-finished can of soda on the railing. She opened the door cautiously, wearing a faded robe and fluffy slippers with dolphins on them.
Miss Velez?
Mendoza asked, showing her badge with the same warmth as a dentist questioning about flossing.
We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Why? What happened?
She said, her voice clipped.
I'm just a housekeeper and my son is asleep.
Mendoza nodded.
Something went missing from a room you cleaned. We're not accusing you of anything. We're just trying to understand all the pieces.
Carmen hesitated, then stepped back.
Come in.
The inside of the house smelled like lavender and laundry powder. A small TV played quietly in the background, showing a telenovela with dramatic violin music. Reg and Alex took the couch. Lucien leaned against the doorframe with Bombay curled at his feet. Mendoza stood.
Carmen,
she began.
We know you entered the room 402 at 7:05 a.m. What we don't know is what happened before or after.
Carmen crossed her arms.
I cleaned the bathroom, picked up a towel off the floor, and emptied the trash. That's it.
You're sure?
Mendoza asked gently.
I don't steal.
No one's saying you did. But was anyone waiting for you? Anyone who spoke to you that morning?
Carmen opened her mouth, closed it. Her fingers twitched slightly against her hip. Lucienne stepped forward, voice calm.
We're not here to get you in trouble. We're just trying to find out who really wanted Luca's things. If someone approached you, we need to know.
She looked between them, then at Bombay, who wagged his tail once in polite encouragement. Carmen sighed.
A man stopped me at the service entrance. Around 7. Said he was part of the event staff. Looked nervous, twitchy, wet too, like he'd just gotten out of the ocean.
What did he want?
Mendoza asked.
He said there'd been an allergic reaction. That the diver in that room, Luca, needed his tablet because it had his medical history on it. Said it was urgent. Life or death.
And you believed him?
Carmen shook her head, ashamed.
He gave me $1,000. Said it was a medical emergency and I'd be saving a life. That he would tell no one. I thought it was real. I thought I was helping. I didn't think it was bad.
Mendoza nodded.
What happened next?
I went into the room, cleaned it very fast. The tablet was on the desk, still plugged in. I gave it to him outside, then continued with the other rooms.
Lucian pulled out his phone.
Would you recognize him if you saw him again?
I think so.
He opened the photo roll.
Okay. I'm going to scroll through some images. Tell me if anyone stands out.
He moved through headshots of event staff, organizers, divers.
Not him. No. Nope. Wait.
She pointed.
That one.
Lucian looked at the screen, then back at Mendoza.
Head Judge Callan.
Carmen's eyes widened.
He's a judge.
Yes, and you just helped confirm he's involved in Luca's death.
Outside, the air was heavy with the promise of rain. The sky had gone inky black and the island's noise had quieted to cicadas, and one distant steel drum player who apparently didn't believe in sleep. In the parking lot, they gathered near Reggie's truck.
You're not taking her in?
Reg asked.
No. She was manipulated. She didn't steal for personal gain. If someone told me a life was at stake, maybe I would give in too. I gave her a warning.
Lucian paced around the car.
So Callan needed that tablet badly enough to bribe a hotel worker and make up a fake allergy.
Reg scratched Bombay behind the ears.
But why the tablet? What was so dangerous on it?
Could have been personal messages, notes, contracts,
Alex suggested,
or videos.
Nowadays, all devices are synced. Whatever it was, it's on all of Luca's devices and probably in the cloud.
Mendoza turned toward him.
You're sure?
Lucian shrugged.
No, but I can try to find out.
You're saying you can access his cloud?
Alex asked. Lucian offered a small, sheepish grin.
It wouldn't be my first morally ambiguous favor to law enforcement.
Mendoza nodded.
Do it. But try not to raise any red flags. If there's anything on that tablet, especially a motive for murder, we need it before Callan realizes we're onto him.
Thunder cracked distantly over the ocean. Bombay perked his ears. Reg checked the sky, frowning.
Looks like weather's rolling in.
Mendoza turned toward the truck.
So is justice.
Chapter 10. The sun started to rise over San Malvino, but the island was still thumping from the night before. Steel drums thudded faintly in the distance, high tide hissed over the sand, and the occasional drunken laugh echoed at the marina. The party had technically ended, but no one had told the guests. The police station, however, had nothing to do with the fun. Lucian looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair was at war with gravity, and his fingers trembled slightly from too much espresso and not enough sleep. But there was a gleam in his eyes that hadn't been there before.
Detective Mendoza, I'm in.
He yelled in his phone, voice hoarse but triumphant.
I'm calling O'Malley's now.
10 minutes later, sleepy Mendoza set down her 40-ounce Stanley cup and rubbed her eyes.
What did you find?
Files. Thousands of them, sync logs, all kinds of media, call backups, travel receipts, dive notes, basically everything that Luca has ever produced. But there's the one you're going to want to see first. Last recorded video. Time-stamped 5:50 a.m. yesterday morning.
Alex, Reg, and Bombay walked into the station like it was their home. Alex handed Lucian a protein bar and sat beside him without speaking. Reg stood just behind Mendoza with arms crossed, already expecting the worst. Bombay peeked from under the desk like a furry sandbag of judgment. Lucian clicked play. The video opened with a quiet crackle of wind and water. Luca's face came into view, golden sunrise brushing the edge of his cheek, the sky behind him pale lavender. He looked tired, but peaceful, focused. A man on a mission.
Hey everyone. There's something important I need to say. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I know it's going to affect me and probably the sport and definitely the federation. But I have to go with my heart.
He paused and looked out toward the ocean. Behind him, gulls circled lazily, the early light casting shadows across the beach.
During the last competition in the Philippines,
He continued,
I visited one of Blue Wave's factories. Incognito, disguised as a wholesale costumer.
His jaw tightened.
What I saw, I can't unsee.
Reg leaned forward slightly, eyes narrowing.
They use children
Luca said, voice low but steady.
to make our wetsuits, to sew logos onto the gear we wear to promote mindfulness, excellence, and freedom. I can't keep smiling in their ads knowing that.
Alex covered her mouth. Mendoza didn't blink.
I'm not going to be part of it anymore. Tonight during the opening ceremony, I'm cutting ties with Blue Wave. They'll probably call it a breach of contract, sue me for all that I have, but I'm done.
He adjusted the camera slightly, walking slower now.
I've been negotiating with Plunge Global, and so far they've been transparent with me. They're letting me tour any factory I want, without notice. And they're willing to pledge 10% of the profit they make from our deal toward ocean conservation and reef recovery initiatives of my choosing.
He looked directly into the lens.
That's what this sport should be about. Not just breath holds or deep dives, but why we crave to be underwater, what we protect, who we're doing it for.
He exhaled, almost smiling again.
I know not everyone's going to agree, but...
A voice interrupted him off-screen.
Hey, Luca. Good that I found you this early on the beach.
Luca turned. The camera dipped sharply downward, now filming sand, a corner of a towel, a shadow moving across the frame.
I wanted to take a dive before the beach gets crowded.
The man continued.
But I couldn't find a safety diver at this hour. Would you mind being one?
Luca's voice answered, a little muffled now.
Sure, but I'll need to run to the tent, grab my gear.
Don't bother.
The man replied.
I have a spare set.
The video ended. A soft click echoed as the playback stopped. The screen returned to the file menu like nothing had happened. No one spoke for a very long minute. Mendoza's arms were folded tightly across her chest, her jaw flexing. Reg let out a breath through his nose like a slow release valve. Alex stared at the laptop, blinking slowly, as if hoping the video would replay on its own. Lucian broke the silence.
That was Callan, his voice. I've compared it to the interview audio. There's no doubt. That was him.
He stopped the upload,
Mendoza said.
Stole the tablet, the phone, the camera. But not before this auto-synced.
He wanted to destroy the message. He didn't just want Luca gone. He wanted the footage erased.
Reg rubbed his jaw.
So he kills the kid before the announcement, puts him in a plunge wetsuit, and drowns him to frame the new sponsor. Makes it look like it was their doing, or like Luca committed suicide.
And Blue Wave stays clean.
Lucian added grimly.
No scandal. No lost investors.
Mendoza's eyes hadn't moved from the laptop.
We have the video now. The motive, the voice, the timestamp.
He had planned it. To use the dive as a cover.
Mendoza stepped away from the desk and picked up her phone.
Let's go. He's not slipping through this.
Reg tilted his head.
What are you going to tell him?
Mendoza cracked her neck.
That he's under arrest for murder.
Chapter 11. The first morning of competition dawned like a postcard. Perfect sky, windless seas, and just enough shimmer on the water to make every photo look filtered. From the media zone near the main dock, you'd never guess the main contender had been murdered a day ago. Tents flapped, vendors hawked hydration powder and custom-print wetsuits, spectators pressed against velvet ropes for selfies with athletes who boarded the boats. The competition platform, floating about 20 meters offshore, buzzed with chaotic order. Judges taking their seats, medics going through final briefings, camera crews testing the angles, safety divers checking their gear. Logos gleamed on banners flapping along the railings, Blue Wave front and center, Plunge Global just off to the side like an eager understudy. The president of the International Freediving Federation stood near the edge of the platform, waiting to greet the arriving athletes, when the police speedboat cut the line. Mendoza stood at the bow, watching the floating competition platform grow closer. She hadn't said a word since they left the dock. Lucienne stood behind her, clutching the arrest warrant with both hands, like it might blow away. Reg stood near the side rail, one hand on Bombay's collar. The retired K-9 was in his element, ready to jump on command.
Easy, buddy.
Reg whispered to the 100-pound German shepherd.
Not your circus. Definitely not your clowns.
Bombay didn't move, but the message landed. He stayed by Reg's side, alert, just in case. Alex stood next to them, arms folded tight, her look edging between focused and furious. As they docked at the edge of the platform, the president moved forward, arms out in polite confusion.
Detective Mendoza, good morning. How can I help you?
Mendoza jumped to the platform.
You can step aside.
She walked past him without breaking stride, heading straight for Judge Callan. The cameras followed her like obedient ducks. Callan stood up, hand half raised for a handshake, but Mendoza's voice cut through the noise and caught him off guard.
Henrik Callan, you are under arrest for the murder of Luca Bianchi.
The whole platform froze for a moment, then came the theatrical gasp. Callan blinked.
Excuse me.
You heard me.
Mendoza reached for the cuffs on her duty belt.
We have eyewitness testimony placing you at the victim's hotel. We have your voice on a video recorded by Luca moments before he was murdered. You had the motive, the means, and the opportunity. There's no swimming away from this one. Now put your hands behind your back.
The crowd surged toward the judge's table. A boom mic swung too close and smacked a camera operator in the head. One of the judges gasped audibly. Someone dropped a clipboard into the water. Callan didn't move.
You're making a mistake,
he said stiffly. Bombay dragged Reg forward and let out a menacing growl. Lucian moved to the front of the crowd, holding up his phone with Luca's video on repeat.
Then, you'll want to explain why you appear in the last footage Luca ever recorded, trying to stop him from exposing Blue Wave.
Callan glanced at the phone, then at the circling crowd. Divers, reps, press, sponsors. His eye twitched. Mendoza held out her hand.
Don't make me add resisting arrest to the charges in front of the cameras.
There was a long pause. Then finally, Callan nodded once and extended his wrists. The crowd erupted, half in confusion, half in unfiltered drama thirst. Reg muttered,
I'll give it 3 minutes before we hit global news.
Alex snapped a quick photo of Bombay sitting stoically by Mendoza's boot.
Make that 2.
The interview room of the police station was stiflingly quiet, the ceiling fan ticking like a cheap metronome. Henrik Callan sat at the table, doing his best to keep a straight face. Mendoza kept him in cuffs.
You know why you're here,
she said. Callan didn't respond. Lucienne hit play. The screen lit up. Luca's face in early morning light, his voice calm, determined, the sea behind him. Then Callan's voice suggesting a dive. Lucienne paused it.
That's your voice, Judge. No point in denying it. You were the last person who saw him alive.
Callan stared at the frozen frame.
I didn't mean it to go that far,
he muttered.
Too late for that. A young man is dead. Now tell us in detail how it happened.
I found out the night before about Luca's plan. Someone from Blue Wave had caught wind of what Luca was planning They were in meltdown, Federation brass too. They said we'd lose all our funding, all credibility as a federation, as an emerging elite sport.
Is that enough for a murder?
Mendoza asked.
You don't understand. I gave my whole life to this sport.
Callan was getting angry.
I watched it grow from local events to global competitions. I helped shape the safety standards, the judging systems, the funding structure, and all of it rides on brands.
So you killed for sponsorship money?
Lucian asked.
Do you have a slightest idea how much effort it takes to build a whole discipline out of nothing?
Callan snapped.
That kid was going to blow it all up for a PR stunt, for an influencer deal and a guilty conscience.
Or maybe
Mendoza's voice as pure steel.
he was the only one brave enough to care what happened behind the curtain. Now tell me what happened on the beach that day.
You saw the video, there's not much else to it.
Callan's voice cracked slightly.
I found him on the beach. Told him I needed a safety diver for an early warm-up dive. Said it would only take 10 minutes. He didn't hesitate.
You gave him the plunge wetsuit,
Mendoza said.
and a dive computer you would wipe.
Callan nodded.
I wanted it to look like he was training solo, that he was switching brands, that maybe it was an accident.
Walk us through it.
He rubbed his eyes.
We went to the platform. Luca stayed shallow, couple of feet max. I took a deep dive, just enough to make it believable. When I started my ascent, he was still watching the blue, relaxed, not expecting anything. I swam up under him.
And?
I pulled him down.
The words came out flat.
Just a few seconds. That's all it takes. He tried to kick free. I held on till he blacked out. Technically, I didn't kill him.
Lucian swallowed hard.
You didn't save him either. You didn't even try.
Mendoza said, stunned. Callan didn't argue.
I took the dive computer, the camera, and the phone. Wiped what I could. Left the body drifting, like he'd gone out alone and pushed too far. I figured people would call it an accident. Or better, suicide.
You staged it.
Mendoza said.
You killed him and tried to frame a rival brand.
I protected the sport.
Callan snapped.
Do you have any idea what we would lose if that video went public? What it costs to run these events? You think we can afford to lose Blue Wave?
No.
Mendoza said coldly.
But Luca could afford to tell the truth. And that's what terrified you.
She stepped back and nodded to Lucian.
Get him booked. Murder in the first degree.
Callan didn't react. Outside, Reg and Alex waited in the hallway with Bombay, who had been listening through the wall, ears perked and still. When Lucian stepped out with the signed confession, Reg looked at him.
Well?
Judge just made his final ruling.
Lucian said.
And this time, he's not getting out.
Chapter 12. The sun was melting into the sea by the time the closing ceremony began, casting long golden streaks across the water. From the edge of the competition platform, the whole setup looked softer now, less spectacle, more sentiment. The LED rig still glowed, but the bombast was gone. No fog machines, no stunt drones, no influencer ring lights. Only a wide screen, a gentle breeze, and a crowd trying its best to feel something genuine again. Gone were the Blue Wave banners. The tents had been stripped bare, logos peeled off like bandages. In their place, simple blue flags bore Luca's name and the outline of a diver descending through stylized waves. Alex noticed it first.
They took down every trace of Blue Wave.
Reg adjusted his sunglasses.
Good. Would have been real awkward waving child labor profiteers' flags.
Shannon, who had returned from her self-declared influencer detox with a tote bag full of gel pens and dog treats, tilted her head.
Hope someone turned those banners into protest quilts.
They stood at the back of the crowd with Mendoza and Lucian, off to the side beneath a palm frond awning. Bombay lay at their feet, head on paws, perfectly still, except for the occasional tail thump when people passed by whispering, "Is that the dog from the arrest?" The crowd hushed as the screen flickered to life. Soft ambient music played beneath the sound of ocean waves, an audio blend someone had probably labored over for hours. Then Luca appeared, not as a still photo or a logo, but in motion, walking the beach in dawn light.
Hey everyone, there's something important I need to say.
His final message played in full. No edits, No commentary, just Luca speaking plainly about what he'd seen, what he couldn't unsee, and what he planned to do about it. When he reached the part about the children at the Blue Wave factory, a collective silence blanketed the beach. People stopped fiddling with their phones. A few lowered their sunglasses. Someone sniffled. Mendoza didn't move. Lucian watched the crowd instead of the screen. Reg held Bombay's leash like an anchor. And then Lucas said,
10% of my plunge global deal will go to reef conservation.
And he was gone. The screen faded to black. No applause, just the sound of waves and a lone gull cawing overhead. The host took the stage, some local celebrity in linen who thankfully kept it brief.
We thank Luca Bianchi for his integrity and passion,
He said.
He was a champion, not just of sport, but of conscience.
Then came Giorgio Dassis. He stepped up to the mic in his team jacket, hair slicked back, holding his new gold medal like it was heavier than it looked.
I wasn't always Luca's biggest fan.
Giorgio admitted, his accent thick with emotion.
We had differences. But today I won because he wasn't here. And that doesn't feel like a win.
There was a rustle of murmured agreement from the front row.
I want to honor his legacy. I've restructured my new contract with Plunge Global. 10% of proceeds will go to marine preservation, just like he asked. And I'll match it with my own funds.
That got applause. Hesitant, then stronger. Next up was Rafi Al-Masri. Of all people. He stepped up with his arms crossed, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, and yet, when he started speaking, his voice was steady.
Luca and I disagreed on a lot of things, but he reminded us what this sport is supposed to be about. Discipline, clarity, ethics. I'm funding a free diving school in his name, on the island where he was born. The courses will be free for anyone who wants to learn.
This time the applause was loud. Even Bombay barked once. The ceremony ended without fireworks. Just a group release of lanterns, simple paper shells drifting into the dusk. The sleuths stayed behind while the crowd dispersed.
Well,
Alex said, watching the last lanterns disappear.
that was almost sincere.
Almost.
Reg muttered, hands in his pockets. Shannon, who had grown strangely quiet, finally said,
Do you think any of them would have done this if he hadn't died?
No,
Mendoza said.
but they're doing it now. And that still counts.
Lucian rubbed his eyes.
It's just wild. This whole thing started with a missing camera and a weird wetsuit.
And ended with corporate corruption, sabotage, and underwater murder.
Reg added.
Classic Island Week.
They found a quieter spot near the judge's tent, abandoned now, where the night breeze cut through the heat and the shadows felt longer. Mendoza sat on the edge of a folding table.
You know what I keep thinking about?
What?
Alex asked.
How fast people change their tone. Yesterday, Blue Wave was untouchable. Now their names being scraped off boats.
Cancel culture?
Shannon offered. Mendoza shook her head.
More like consequence culture. People still think they can do anything behind closed doors, but in the end, truth always comes out.
Lucian looked up from his phone.
His video hit a 10 million views already.
Reg snorted.
Guess the algorithm finally did something right.
Bombay sighed and flopped dramatically, as if solving murder had taken all his social battery.
You know,
Shannon said, stretching out beside him.
We're gonna need a new hobby if we keep solving murders weekly.
Alex smiled.
This was supposed to be our hobby.
Then we're doing it wrong.
Lucian's phone buzzed.
Oh, look, Buzz Dive just posted a headline. Corrupt judge arrested in underwater scandal. Hero dog assists.
They all looked at Bombay, who sneezed once, unimpressed. Reg patted him on the head.
You're the only influencer I trust.
Mendoza stood, brushing sand off her slacks.
All right. Tomorrow, I start the paperwork. And then I'm buying myself the largest cocktail this island can make.
On that note, who wants pina coladas and a long stretch of doing absolutely nothing?
Reg raised his hand. Lucian hesitated.
I have 5 reports to write. Maybe 6.
Bring them to the bar,
Shannon said.
I'll make a pie chart out of mango slices.
Mendoza nodded toward the beach.
Go. Celebrate. Luca would have wanted that.
They made their way down the darkening path, Bombay trotting ahead, tail high. The last lanterns floated on the horizon like slow stars. Behind them, the platform stood quiet. The sea rolled gently beneath it, unaware that justice was served. Chapter 13. The day after the closing ceremony, San Malvino finally exhaled. Vendors packed up, athletes boarded ferries, the branded hydration tents deflated like spent balloons. Even the boardwalk chatter had quieted, replaced by the lazy clatter of cafe spoons and the whoosh of beach chairs finally reclaimed by the locals. The police station was quiet and calm. For the first time in days, no one was yelling, arresting anyone, or deciphering encrypted cloud backups. Mendoza sat behind her desk, sipping from her favorite mug, interrogate first, arrest later, and watching Lucian pace the room like a caffeinated Roomba.
You okay there, intern?
Lucian stopped mid-turn.
Sorry,
He grinned.
I can't believe it. You're serious?
Mendoza lifted a manila folder. Offer letter, signed by the commissioner this morning. After 2 unofficial murder assists, a full digital forensics breakdown, and 1 very elegant unearthing of a hidden will, the department is ready to make it official. Lucien took the folder like it might turn into confetti.
I have health insurance now?
Dental, too. We're a small island, not a lawless one.
Alex, Reg, Shannon, and Bombay stood in the doorway with fresh iced coffees and matching grins.
I told you, nobody hacks a dead guy's cloud faster than our Lucian.
Shannon leaned on the doorframe, arms folded.
They're not even going to give you a ceremonial lay. I'm disappointed.
Budget cuts.
Mendoza deadpanned.
We spent it all on highlighters and dog treats.
Reg handed Lucian a coffee.
Welcome to the ranks of the underpaid and overly curious.
Lucian beamed.
Thank you, all of you. This place, I didn't think I'd stay long when I first came, but now I can't imagine being anywhere else.
Bombay barked once, then promptly sneezed into Lucien's pants.
Anointed by the canine, you're officially in.
Just then, the door swung open.
Speak of the absolute devil,
Alex muttered. Gary strolled in like he'd been summoned, wearing flip-flops, a sun hat that could double as a satellite dish, and Polly the parrot on his shoulder dressed in, God help them all, a sequined pirate vest.
Ahoy!
He announced, tossing his arms wide.
San Malvino's most reliable emergency broadcast system has returned.
Polly squawked,
We're back, baby!
Reg raised an eyebrow.
Where have you been? Thought you'd finally eloped with a conspiracy forum.
Gary dropped into a chair like a man just back from war.
A murder on the first day of a competition? That's bad, Juju. Real bad. I packed up Polly, locked my doors, and stayed home till the spirits were done being evil.
You mean until the tourists left?
Alex said.
Same thing.
Polly flapped once.
Spirit crisis averted!
Mendoza looked up.
Did you seriously hide for 5 days?
I monitored the situation remotely.
Gary said with great dignity.
Via live stream and encrypted memes.
Lucian blinked.
That's not a thing.
Shannon leaned toward Lucian.
Don't feed the conspiracy.
I made good money with Polly before the murder.
Gary continued.
But even I know when to stop tempting fate. Island karma is real.
Reg sipped his drink.
Well, the case is closed. The bad guy's in jail. Your juju is safe now.
Time to unleash the sequins,
Gary declared.
We'll be back on the beach by tomorrow.
Polly bobbed proudly.
Brand building!
Gary stood, tossed a salute, and sauntered out like he'd just solved a crime. There was a long pause. Then Mendoza said,
I give it 1 day before he comes up with a new business model.
Lucian laughed, really laughed, and the tension finally cracked. As the group drifted toward the back of the station for a celebratory spread of leftover empanadas and suspiciously warm lemonade, Lucian lingered behind. Shannon was rearranging her tote. Sketchbooks, a half-melted candle, and something that looked like driftwood carved into a llama. Lucian cleared his throat.
Hey.
Shannon glanced up.
Hey yourself, Officer Cloud Hacker.
He rubbed the back of his neck.
So, now that I'm not technically a temp, I was wondering if, maybe you'd want to grab dinner sometime?
Shannon's brow arched.
Like a date?
Like, yeah, a food-based event where I'd try to make conversation without devices or tech.
She tilted her head.
You know I'm 10 years older than you, right?
Chronologically,
Lucian said, straight-faced.
Spiritually, I'm 87. Why do you think I love my grandma so much?
She studied him for a moment, then smiled.
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, you already survived 2 crazy cases on this island, and I once dated a smuggler. The bar is not high.
Lucian flushed.
Wow, that's encouraging.
She laughed.
I'm saying yes, Lucian.
He opened his mouth, closed it, then gave a triumphant nod.
Cool. Great. Excellent. I'll, find a place with non-lethal entrees.
She leaned in and whispered,
And maybe a step stool.
He groaned.
I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Yep.
She said, tossing her tote over her shoulder.
Get used to it.
As they rejoined the others, Alex nudged Reggie.
Told you they'd figure it out?
Reg shrugged.
Still think she's gonna eat him alive?
Probably, but he'll enjoy it.
The group clinked plastic cups in a toast. To new jobs, to solved murders, to the strange rhythm of island life where parrots wear sequins and justice shows up in a speedboat. Outside, the waves rolled in, lazy and steady. The island was quiet again. No one knew for how long. This has been Death by Deep Dive, Book 3 in the Island Whodunnit series, written by Tess Marlowe, narration produced and directed by Maureen Gazarian, audio created using 11 Labs multi-voice narration technology. Thank you for listening.